Never mind me while I'm stepping out my circumference. I feel the nerves trickling down. It's life humbling. My words stutter, stumbling, staggered, I'm caught off guard. This the life of a jigaboo, introverted, I'm scarred. Whoa, my murder been the melodies while they sing the choruses. Direct message from Slade saying we need more of it. Paranoia in my state, I see envy at high rates. Now it's crop off the fate, turn great so I fly straight. Was gone for a minute, now I'm back like an X with big factors. I see you turn flat like extinct like some raptors. When I drop through prayer, precision, practice and patience, we move to greener pastures. They saying life is a matter of mastering basics and mastering patience. More time I get tired of waiting. Maybe it's fate procrastinating, the times are bad, so it really had me sprung. Like she got me doing things that I never do. You thought that we connected when in fact it was trauma bonding. Just leave it up to me to break the rules, never corresponding. My childhood filled with fence climbs and knee scrapes and bikes and kicking it by the street signs. The older I get, I'm trying to lessen any screen time. The bounce back heavy, I rock steady on climb. This world's a fucking loop, the news will pick and choose whatever truth they wanna give to you. I cannot stomach it, so I poop. Oops. When life turns sweeter, the lemon mouths get louder. But I'm amplified with ghosts from God like that boy Fowler. Working like I got that point to prove. But truth be told, the proof is right in the pudding, no point to lose. 60 for the crepes, yeah, I did that just because. She expected more, girl, you know I'm saving up. Left me on red, well, it was what it was. Never stress over them joints or in downs when times get rough, so I ghost. Long are the days when we was close, and when I see you, it's like two completely different type of ghosts. I approach the weekly fire dropping, which I'm feeding. Still, I don't expect to be the one, your boy having fun. Still, the songs get spun like Beyblades and teacups. My fun fair to those that ever really know me from jump. So what's up, I've been the one they all depended on like TJ. Now they're dead wilder than a furry knockout punch, leaving them straight stunned. That's hella fun. Now you know I'm coming through. When the growth look good on you, best believe they wanna screw now. I've been trying to climb, devil threw me in the dark. Baby, don't be insecure, you can still go make a mark like blow. Could never let them drain my soul now. Blow. Table turning like doorknobs, wow. Blow. I think I'm about to set sail. I'm a walking, living legend, walking with my chest out. Life keep dealing me cards, I keep fitting in love.
Good morning. Good morning to everybody in the building. For those who are watching this on the replay, I hope you are well. I know it's Saturday. You're probably out, or about to start your day, with the little ones, probably just chilling, had a good Friday night, all of that kind of good vibes. For those of us who have kids, of course, it's probably early morning time. So what's that, 10:30? Blippy, Cocoa Melon, that kind of vibe. So big up to your damn selves. Hopefully the kids are not driving you too crazy on a Saturday morning, but you know what? They just want to have fun. They just want to have fun and they want to chill. If I was you after this stream, as soon as you finish watching this stream, won't be a long one today. As soon as you finish watching this, guys, go outside, man. The weather looks okay over here in London. So why not do that? Man? But big up to yourselves. Make sure you smash a like. Make sure you share and subscribe to the damn channel. Today, this is just quick Liverpool news. A few things that I've seen just kind of pop up on the timeline and things like that. Again, I'm not saying that any of it is true. For all I know, this is just all bull s. But at the same time, I said, you know what? Let's just have a little chitter chatter and see what is going on. Big up ends in the building, man. Again, I hope you and the family are enjoying the holiday. Big up honesty, man. I hope you're well this morning. Big up G. That GYOKERES, don't move me like that. I hear it. Like, listen, I'm not here to say whether or not you guys think he's a good player or a bad player and any of that kind of good stuff. But without wasting any time, without doing any of that rubbish, let's just get straight to it. So one of the first few things I saw pop up on the timeline, just talking, of course, about Ruben Amorim, the Sporting Lisbon manager. Of course, we all know that, well, from what we do know, it looks like this is Liverpool's number one target, right? This looks like the manager that might potentially be the new manager of Liverpool FC next season. But Saw a report yesterday. Sporting president Federico Varandas wants Ruben Amorim to stay at the club next season and is prepared to push for his stay at the club. I found that one interesting purely because I said to myself, the reality with Liverpool news, remember, we never know anything. We never know. We're one of those clubs like other clubs you may hear it when it comes to like transfers, for example. You might hear, I don't know, Pochettino, he might say, the team needs a bit more experience in certain areas of the pitch. You may hear, and I'm not saying this is exact quotes, but you may hear Pep Guardiola say, I don't know, I need a player who can arrive in the box. Those kind of things. It's those clubs and most clubs really and truly, they always kind of not talk directly about, yeah, I need a left winger, unless it's like an obvious thing, or I don't know, they've got no goalkeeper, so they need to sign one. I think it's just more about maybe just letting fans know, but then at the same time, because of the personality of the individuals at Liverpool, and especially under Jurgen Klopp, we've never been like that. Do you know what I mean? We woke up one morning and we signed Fabinho. We just finished the Champions League final. Next day, or next couple of days, or whatever it was, Fabinho was signed. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, we're that type of club. If I'm being honest, it's only really been probably, you'd say, since Michael Edwards actually left the club, that I would say, okay, yeah, you've started to see McAllister. We knew we were signing. So Bosley, again, that was kind of, a bit out of the blue. You didn't really think that was kind of coming. Gravenberch, you kind of knew. Endo, again, a bit out of the blue as well. So it's been kind of on both sides. It's been on both sides, really and truly since Michael Edwards left. But I know that, prior to him leaving, you barely knew of any of the players that we were signing. It was always a surprise. It was always, you wake up in the morning and all of a sudden, oh, right, we're interested in, I don't know, Keita. Okay, all right, cool. We'll sign Naby Keita then. Do you know what I mean? So now we're all going away to do our research on these kind of players and see what's up, kind of thing. Whereas now we kind of know whether that's to do. I'm not saying that's directly to do, with Michael Edwards or anything like that. But at the same time, it is one of those coincidences, if I'm being honest. And speaking of honest, G, imagine we all think it's Amorim and you see Gary Neal becoming the LFC manager. And this is one of the things that I wanted to get onto next. So I saw this as well. This is from David Ornstein. While Ruben Amorim is in the mix to be Liverpool's next manager, he is not a shoo-in or a nailed-on first choice, with the club said to be conducting a broad process that has highlighted alternative candidates. Now, again, he's not saying that he's not coming, but he's also not saying he's not coming. So it's like, or that he is coming, should I say? So it's one of those catch-22s when we read these things. Again, it goes back to what I just said about Liverpool news, and we don't really get any information in regards to what's actually realistically going on and all that kind of stuff. So when I'm looking at that, I mean, I'll ask you guys, and again, if you're watching this on the replay, let me know in the comment section if there was another manager out there, because at this current moment in time, we've gone from, we wanted it to be Alonso. It looks like Alonso is going to stay at Bayern Leverkusen. If it's not Alonso, Nagelsmann is now out of the picture because he signed a new deal with Germany. We've heard Zidane might potentially be going to Bayern Munich or even a Manchester, United. Now you really are left with, like I said, the Ruben Amorims, the De Zerbis, the Thomas Franks, and the people of this kind of ilk. Like, whether we like it or not, whether we rate this manager, whether we all rate Ruben Amorim, whether we don't rate, De Zerbi, whether we're indifferent about a Thomas Frank, at this stage, I'll be honest, it doesn't even really matter. I'll be honest with you, because the pool is not great. There's the ones like a Ruben Amorim, for example. I'm not saying he's a bad manager or anything like that, but at the same time, he's, not tried and tested. So when we're looking on the face of it, you're kind of like, okay, he looks all right. Do you think he'll be able to do a job? We don't really know. Will his style be able to translate in the Premier League? Again, we don't know. Obviously, nothing's a guarantee, nothing's a shoo-in, but you feel a bit more safer with other options, so to speak. You'd feel a lot more safer having Zidane in the club, as an example, as opposed to saying Ruben Amorim. Not even to say that Ruben Amorim wouldn't potentially do better than a Zidane, but you just feel a bit more safer because you say, well, you got someone like Zidane. He went, back to back Champions League, regardless of the team that he had. If you actually go back and look at the squad that he actually had, yeah, it's not as easy as some people made it out to be. And I don't think anybody, in terms of in the Champions League format, the current one that we've got. I don't think anybody's ever done that, won 3 Champions Leagues in a row. So, and we're talking about prime Barcelona, during this time, the Galacticos and all this kind of stuff. So the fact that he was able to do it, there's obviously something in that. And on top of that, he wasn't a manager who lost many games either. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, so you'd feel a bit more safer. Again, not saying that someone like Ruben Amorim, might potentially not be a good manager if he were, of course, to come to Liverpool. I see people keep talking about Gary O'Neill. The fact that that's even floating around in the air, that's starting to make me think, like, are they just going to go completely left? Like, completely and utterly left? Michael Edwards has returned to Liverpool, and some of the players signed during his absence are now at risk of being sold to fund new signings, better suited to the new manager's style of play. Edwards is not impressed with the signings made in the last 2 years. Now, again, not saying that we don't know if he actually said this. We'll never know if any of these people have actually said any of this. But I also do find this interesting because, again, when we're looking at the whole managerial, merry-go-round, I'm looking at, first and foremost, of course, behind the scenes, Liverpool are doing, a few things. We're starting to get certain people in place in certain positions. That's really, really good. And of course, those things are very, very important to the structure of the football club, especially in the way that FSG, and probably more importantly, Michael Edwards, wants to see the club, or how he sees the football club. So that's obviously good. But of course, you need the manager in place to be able to, do all these things. On top of that, you've still got players here, players who are, deals are running low, coming to an end very, very soon. The Trent Alexander-Arnolds, the Mohamed Salahs, and, the people like that. You've got Van Dijk, you've got Alisson, who are all kind of getting on with age, Robertson. So there's quite a lot to unpack when it comes to the whole Liverpool manager situation. And then on top of that, well, like I said before, when you then look at, the managers who are even available, you're kind of like, all right, cool. Like, who's available to really take over? You know what I mean? Like, are we all just is it just gonna be a case of you almost have to just grab someone, obviously someone who's adequate enough to be able to take the job, but maybe not a choice that you really wanted to take, but it's like, you know what, we'll just take it for the time being. Are they gonna go for a project manager? Are they gonna go for someone who say, you know what, we've got this project, we're gonna almost treat it like we did with Jurgen Klopp, which is, we'll take time with this. We're not expecting anything amazing. Obviously, of course, if you can overachieve like that, that's great. We're not expecting anything amazing. So with that being said, we'll give you a 4 or 5 year deal, potentially. Or are we going to get a short-term manager? You just get someone in for 2 years whilst you kind of negotiate getting in an Alonso, for example, after 2 seasons, or even next season, the season afterwards, where you say, okay, you know what, you come in just for this season or 18 months or however they like to do it. And then Alonso is going to, of course, step into the role, or another manager who they really want. If that's not Alonso, he'll be able to, he'll be ready, by that point. Is that Gary O'Neill as an example? There's so many things. And then, like I said, you go to the players. Now it's like, all right, well, who stays, who goes? Because what you don't want to do is, and what I don't want Liverpool to do, and big up Flawless, was on Sarcasm City last night, and he was talking about Manchester United and stuff like that. One of the things I remember him saying was talking about how Manchester United have had all of these different managers, but all of these different managers have signed so many different types of players. So now you get to the current manager, and he's got players from this era, from that era, from this manager, from that manager, for that tactic, for this tactic. And it's obviously going to make it difficult, because it's not like you can just ship everybody out and then try and bring everybody in and pray that it just all gels. It's not going to work like that. Do you get what I mean? So it's all about the planning. It's all about the structure. Like I said, it's good behind the scenes, the little pieces that we're putting into play. Obviously, of course, you do need that, almost that crown jewel, to then be able to say, okay, cool, you know what? This is what we're doing moving forward. This is the type of philosophy this manager wants to adopt, or this is the type of philosophy that the club want to adopt. Are we going back into, not back, are we going to be using the Jurgen Klopp kind of philosophy for Liverpool? Is that the best way forward, where we say we want someone kind of similar to Klopp, maybe a bit more new age, so to speak, maybe not so stuck in his ways in that kind of regards, but at the same time, that's the kind of thing that we're looking for, because obviously that's brought Liverpool a level of success in the last 10 years, shall we say, or the last decade, so maybe that might be the way that we go forward. But again, then that's going to need to translate into what type of players are you going to sign? What are we looking for? Are we going to start buying a lot more South Americans as an example, or are we going to start doing the buy to then sell, and buying not necessarily even really for first team, just more buying youngsters, maybe seeing how they develop. If they develop, great. If they don't, no worries, we can sell for a profit. All of these kind of various different things. I don't really know in terms of that side of things when it comes to Liverpool. Not to say that worries me, but it does make me sit here and think to myself, okay, I don't really know the plan. Do you know what I mean? Of course, listen, Liverpool behind the scenes right now, they might be sitting there saying, bro, we already know. You know what I mean? Fans, you don't need to worry about it because we already know what we want to do. Do you know what I mean? We already know which direction we want to go in. We already know how we want to play things. We already know who's going to be in charge, what players they want to sign. We already know what kind of players we want to sell. Of course, it's about selling, but we know the players that we kind of want to sell to be able to fund this, that, and the third, etc., etc. So, yeah, man. Let's see what gone. Honestly, any of the new managers are a risk that are unproven. Hence why I also got Hansi Flick as a choice proven winner. I totally agree. I agree in terms of you almost do want that proven person. Like I said, you almost want that Zidane, because you are looking at it thinking, if you're not going to get someone who's going to necessarily be here for the long term, you do just want someone who's going to be able to stabilize until you're ready to be able to get that individual that you realistically want. And then we can move, from there. So you're playing the long game. And again, I'm saying you're playing the long game. That doesn't then mean that I'm not going to have expectations of Zidane. Of course I am. Of course I am, because of how good of a manager he has proven to be at this current moment in time. Do you know what I mean? So I'm going to be sitting there saying, well, I'm not just saying you just got to keep getting top four and I'm just going to be happy. No, maybe first season I would expect something like that, just because of the position that we're in now. I'm not expecting any manager that comes in, whether it's Gary Potter, Thomas Frank, Chris Wilder, or Alonso De Zerbi, Ruben Amorim. That's top four as a minimum. You definitely couldn't, but you couldn't go lower than that, because then you're taking the club too far back, to be honest with you. Do you know what I mean? And we've already spent a year in the Europa League, and we are trying to be a club that is moving forward. But again, that's just my expectations. I'm not even talking about trophy. I'm not even talking about, he needs to win the league in the first season. No. I think that's a little bit potentially unrealistic, considering even this season, we didn't even think we'd be in a title race anyway. I think we're already punching above our weight as it is. So with Klopp leaving, more upheaval, players leaving, more new players coming in, trying to gel with the players who came in this season, I think it's just going to be quite a lot. Do you know what I mean? I think it's going to be quite a lot. Big up Hashin. Hope you're good. Big up Stephen in the building. Hope you are doing well this morning. Honestly, the biggest transfer ain't even player. We need new medical staff. Yeah, I know. That's the problem with Liverpool, is that you almost feel like the player side of things isn't even the major thing that we currently need at the moment. It is, like I said, the stuff that we're doing behind closed doors. And I think that's going to be vitally important for Liverpool. Now we move on to next bit of news, which is Victor GYOKERES. Mike, if I butcher that name again, I'm sorry. I'm going to go back and listen to how you pronounce that name. This is just another bit of news. GYOKERES and Ruben Amorim. Apparently, Liverpool want both, so we might be doing a double swoop over there at Sporting. 100 million or not, if he wants to leave, Sporting will be able to do nothing about it. Worse still, if Ruben Amorim leaves, GYOKERES will leave too. Now, I don't believe that Liverpool actually would want to grab in. Well, they probably like the player. I'm not saying they don't like him, but I don't know if we'd really do a whole double swoop like that, unless we knew that we were selling like a Diaz and potentially one other to create that space for him to come in, or it's going to be Salah potentially who gets sold, whatever. If that's something that we're going to potentially do, then I won't be too bothered about it, too tough, because I do think he's a decent striker. But at the same time, I just don't know how likely that is, for Liverpool to do. But GYOKERES in himself, you can see his heat map there. You can see some of his stats, from this season. Obviously, he's played under Amorim, scoring lots of goals this season, 22 and 28, league appearances there. You can see his heat map. The heat map was the one I found actually quite interesting the most, to be honest with you, because again, if you're talking about the Liverpool philosophy, that's kind of what we would want, really and truly. Now you can see in those number 9 areas, whatever you want to call that, whatever that even means, he is there. But he's also all around. Basically, from in his half, he is absolutely everywhere. And I like that if that's the kind of philosophy that you're going to, you want to try and proceed with. If that's the case, of course. Because then you're seeing, okay, well, you've got a striker who can do a bit of off the ball work. I'm not saying his off the ball work is amazing. I'm not saying it's great and all of that kind of stuff. I'm not gonna do that. But what I will say is that his finishing is actually really, really good. Now, Amarim, of course, if that's the manager that then comes in, he is someone, who has worked with him, and he's done really, really well under him. He knows him. He knows what his strengths and weaknesses are. So you couple that with having quote unquote better players at Liverpool, I can't see. Sorry, I can see that potentially being a thing, but on the flip side, because of the money and stuff like that, I do see that as being a little bit like, do you know what I mean? Big up Andy in the building, guys. Make sure you head on over to Andy Naylor LFC and subscribe. Really good and informative content, man. Love it. Morning, mate. Good player. Can't see it at that price unless we ship out Nunes. Well, this is the thing. I'm sitting here and I'm saying, I mean, I don't want to do the thing where we go for the hipster choice. That's my issue. Even with the managers, that's my issue. That's why with the Ruben Amorim thing, I've always been a little bit like, is this just another De Zerbi? Because last season, De Zerbi, everybody was like, yo, this guy, amazing, blah, blah, blah. He's the next one up and all this kind of thing. This season, Brighton are not doing, would I say, perceived to be as good as they were last season, even though there's a lot of factors. But forget the factors, forget the context. He's just not doing as good as he was doing last season. And now everyone's just rubbishing him. Everyone's just disrespecting him. Like, I'm just like, wow, kind of thing. So I almost don't want to do the hipster choice when we're then looking at players and you're saying, yeah, let me get someone like a GYOKERES. Let me do that, because if I get him in, he'll do this, that, and the third. He's had one great season at like a higher level. I know he was at Coventry, scored a few goals here and there. That's all cute. But when you've then moved up to a high level, of course, you've now shown that. Can you go even higher than that? Do you know what I mean? Can we keep trying to push the boat, with someone like this? I don't really know. When I was looking at the list of players who, first of all, I looked at Portuguese players who have then played in this league, and that was very, very interesting. But I don't know how many players who have played in Portugal have come over here and really done well. I'm not saying that there isn't. Of course, you've got Ricardo Carvalho, Paulo Ferreira. Would that include Dzeko? Yeah, maybe. I can't remember what he won when he was at Chelsea. Obviously, Cristiano Ronaldo. Nani to some extent, I guess, obviously because of the success that he had at Manchester United. I mean, you've had players like Raul Meireles, Pedro Neto, Ruben Neves. I'm basically naming the whole Wolves team. Yeah, it's. I'm not saying the list isn't even great in terms of the Portuguese players, but I don't think it's as big as we think if we look at the entirety of the Premier League era. So that's something that makes me think, and considering the last 2 imports we've got from Portugal, I am a little bit like, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't really know. Luis Diaz and Darwin Núñez, would we say right now that they've been a hit? I don't know if you'd call them flops, but would you say that, oh yeah, these have been a success? I wouldn't say so. I mean, they probably would have to win the league. And even then, I don't even, if from when we're even saying, from when I'm even saying even then, I don't even think I'd consider them to be successes. Yeah, I don't know about all of that. You know what I mean? So let's wait and see, man. Let's wait and see. Big up, John. Big up, John, man. I hope you're well, man. I hope you're well. I'm going to drop you a message actually later on today, man, to see how you are doing. Don't worry, guys. I see the comments about the whole Drake thing. I'll get to that once we close out of here. Word on the road is, Edwards finna clear out the dead wood. Yeah. I was speaking about that earlier on. Honestly, now if we sell Salah, I want Musiala. I'm tired of LFC appreciating a player. Go buy the same for KUDUS, or heck, go pay 120 million for Federico Valverde. It's whether or not we would actually realistically go out there and sign a Federico Valverde, and whether he'd want to come to Liverpool is a whole different ball game. That's where I'm a little bit like, I don't really know. But again, KUDUS, that was another bit of transfer news that kind of came out last night as well. I was looking at that again. Not to say I believe any of this stuff. Not to say that any of this stuff is reliable, so to speak. But again, it's just one of those things. We are reaching that kind of end of the season, so all of these stories are going to start to ramp up anyway, to be honest with you. So don't be surprised if we're linked with Cristiano Ronaldo at some point in time, just on a short-term deal, because we haven't got any strikers or everybody's injured. Something like that, something crazy like that will probably happen. But Kudus is an interesting one. Obviously over at West Ham this season, performed really, really well. Obviously signed from Ajax. I remember it seemed like it was either like Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal. They all look like they were, we were all in for him last season when he was looking like he may, or that he was going to leave Ajax. I think Manchester United as well. And he ends up going West Ham. I found that one quite interesting. Now, for him, I think that was a good idea in terms of how it's panned out. Obviously, hindsight's a wonderful thing. I think it's turned out to be a good choice for him because less pressure. Of course, West Ham, if you're comparing it to the other clubs, the Liverpool, the Chelsea, the Arsenal, the United, of course, they're not there with that kind of pressure. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So from when they're not there with that pressure, even though I know they're in Europe, they're not a small club or anything like that, but nothing in comparison to the other clubs I just named. You can go there and just do your thing. A bit like Paqueta. You go there, you go from Lyon to, someone like West Ham, show what you can do in the Premier League, show that it's not just a one season thing. Obviously, like with Paqueta, he's been able to show that. So now, when he's now looking potentially at leaving someone like West Ham, going to someone like Manchester City, there is a bit more of a base to say, in terms of he can do the Premier League thing. We know that. It's just now it's purely based on, can he just fit into our system? And where can he fit into our system? And to be honest, we've seen enough of him to potentially even say he can fit into our system. Kudus might be at that stage. Obviously, he's only been here in the Premier League for one season. That's why I don't believe that it'll be a case of someone would potentially just go in for him unless they're going to be prepared to pay the fee. Now, I don't know what that fee would be, but if I know West Ham, they're going to try and, extort you regardless. Do you know what I mean? They're going to try and get as much money, especially because they signed him only last season or at the beginning of this season. They're going to want a lot of money for someone like Kudus, especially, but also as well, because he's one of their best players, one of their most important players. They need someone like him, in their team. He makes their team better when he's on the pitch. And to be honest, when I look at their team as well, I think to myself, Paqueta, Jared Bowen, Kudus. Can't lie, James Ward-Prowse sitting in the midfield with his accuracy of passing and shooting and set piece taking and all that kind of stuff. Get a better manager in. Jeez, you know what? West Ham could cook. West Ham could cook. If they just got a better, number 9, because I feel like you could put Jared Bowen potentially out on the right. I mean, if you want to play him through the middle, you can. But they've got the pieces, I feel. They've got enough pieces to be doing better, in my opinion. Do you know what I mean? I feel like they could easily be in those kind of positions where they're fighting for Europa Leagues. In the positions that you're seeing Tottenham and Villa in, I feel like they could be there. Do you know what I mean? I feel like they've got the pieces. I just don't think they've got the manager to be able to do it. I think he's punching above his weight because I do think that the players that they've got, I'm like, I feel like you could be doing better than this. But you're not even doing poorly. You're not doing poorly. I mean, you got knocked out of the Europa League to Bayern Leverkusen, but that's Bayern Leverkusen. That's fine. But I feel like they could be doing better. But, we'll wait and see. Again, big up everybody in the building. Like I said, I hope everybody is doing well. I'm not going to make this too long anyway. Let me go through some of the comments and then we'll probably head out in the next 10 minutes. Angel saying, if West Ham lose Paqueta and Kudus, they'll want big money. This is what I'm saying. They're going to want a hefty fee. They're not trying to let these guys go for chicken change. They're going to want a bit of money for them. So that's where I'm like, I don't really know if that's going to necessarily work out in terms of someone trying to buy him. Unless it's someone stupid like a Chelsea, and we know what Chelsea are about, they'll probably try and say, yeah, we'll sign such and such for however much. Honestly, why do we buy a player when we all see this man is a baller? And why do we buy a player when we all see this man is a baller and is cheap? We just go and pay double for him. Same as Inacio. Man will cost more now than before. Yeah, I know. And like I said, it might just be a case of because Liverpool are so frugal with money and we don't really like spending the money as it is, we almost have to pick and choose our battles. To me, that's what it seems like. We almost want to pick and choose our battles. So when there's certain players like an Inacio or Kudus or whatever, or a Caicedo, at the time before he even joined Brighton, and all of these kind of things. When we see that, I'm just like, yeah, maybe they just didn't want to maybe they wanted to get these guys, but they didn't want to take that risk. But they're going to take a risk elsewhere. Obviously, then it gets a bit confusing because you pay so much money for like a Nunes and stuff like that. So it's like that wasn't the risk that you could have. You chose the wrong risk. You chose the wrong risk. But again, I just think that that's just how Liverpool are. But yeah, guys, that, like I said, that's kind of the news. I don't want to keep you guys for too long. I will be back tomorrow anyway. I think it's at 11:30 a.m. I'll be back 11:30 a.m. to do the Fulham versus Liverpool match preview. So make sure you guys obviously tune in so we can talk about the team and who's available, who's not available. Go through the lineup, predicted lineup, and score predictions as well. I'll go through the last few comments and then, yeah, man, we'll head out of here. Let's just get to it. I see you lot talking about it. John Kendrick getting bodied by her singing. Andy saying, reckon it's more likely Inacio or Diamonde that comes with Amarim. Yeah, I think that would make more sense if I'm being 100% honest. I genuinely think that would make more sense just because I do think defense is an area that is more of a cause. The attack is the attack. I hear that. Cool. But the defense does worry me a little bit in terms of one, depth and quality. So I'm like, I definitely agree with that, Andy. I definitely agree with that. Angel saying, didn't Kudus play under Ten Hag at Ajax? If so, why didn't they sign him? I think they looked at him. It was weird because they then went for Anthony instead for that amount of money. I don't really know. Again, we don't know behind the scenes what's going on. Did he even want to go there? You know what I mean? Did they really, say that they actually wanted him? But I do think that they looked at him, just whether or not they felt that he could have fit into their team. Although, in my mind, I'm like, I almost feel like it could have been either him or Mason Mount that they could have signed, but they kind of went with Mason Mount. I think one, because of the English quota, but also maybe they thought that Mason Mount just would have been a better option. Like, I have no idea. You'd have to probably speak to a Manchester United fan about that. But hindsight is a wonderful thing because we've seen how Mason Mount has obviously panned out, at Manchester United. Injury-riddled season. Performances haven't really been there, kind of thing. So, and Kudus has obviously been doing well in the Europa League. Obviously, of course, until they got knocked out, been doing well in the Premier League. So, yeah, like I said, hindsight is a wonderful thing. Honestly, Klopp said there is no reason to win. There is no reason to win our last 6 games, and fatigue is no excuse. So they better show it. There is no reason to not win our last 6 games, and fatigue is no excuse. So they better show it. 100%, 100%. Yeah, like I said, if they don't win it, there's going to be pitchforks out. Regardless, I don't care what nobody says. Your love for Jurgen will not save you in these kind of moments. Big up Steve in the building, guys. Make sure you're heading on over to Strasbourg Steve channel as well, and Savage's channel. There, like I said, go to my featured channel list. You'll see everybody's there anyway. So when you're bored some of the time or any time today, just go on there. Subscribe to everybody who is on my channel list. It's bizarre. G, something is wrong. The biggest clubs allowing Kudus to go to West Ham. It's true. I think this summer that just gone, this summer seemed to me like everybody was trying to show off. When I look back at some of the deals, Arsenal, Declan Rice, Chelsea, Caicedo, Liverpool, Szoboszlai and McAllister, Manchester United, obviously trying to get Mount. Not trying to get Mount, they got Mount. And then you look at Aston Villa, the players that they signed, Tottenham with some of the players that they signed. Like, I feel like this summer, everybody's trying to show off. And like all the top clubs anyway, they're trying to show off. Yeah, we got money, man. Let's do this thing. Newcastle signed Tonali. Look what happened there. Did you get what I'm trying to say? Like, everybody I felt was just trying to show off this summer. Everybody was trying to show off and say, yo, like, we're serious. We're here. We're trying to do our thing as well. But then you saw how January went. Very quiet. Very, very quiet. Even though we all needed players. We all needed some type of player. We all needed something to kind of come in, whether that be a defender, midfielder, attacker. We all needed players. But this January was super duper quiet because that FFP started to kick in the back of people's mind, and we ain't trying to end up like Everton or Nottingham Forest where we're getting points deductions. Did you get what I'm trying to say? So yeah, that was always going to be an issue. Somewhere the game is ready to diss someone to promote his album. Yeah, facts. Facts. Big up TK. Good morning to you. I wish that Ruben Amorim would be new Liverpool manager. Please, dream come true. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. And Hollywood Rock is saying that we will not win all 6 games. Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. Big up Savage in the building, by the way. Big up Savage. I hope you're doing well, my bro. Let's go through. Let me see. There was a comment someone made about Drake. I just saw. Oh no, there was this actually. To be fair, boom. How many good seasons has GYOKERES had? 1. Like when you say good seasons, I'd say 1. But obviously at Coventry, he had a good season there. Just whether or not you rate that in itself is up to you. But in terms of good seasons, I'm still looking at it like, I mean, he used to play. He was at just trying to look now. So yeah, I mean, like he was at Brighton. Like when I saw that, I was like, Brighton. When was he at Brighton? Yeah, he was at Brighton from when they came into the Premier League, actually, 2017-18 season. So yeah, he's been at Brighton for 1, 2, 3, 4 seasons. 4 seasons at Brighton. He spent majority of his time in the Championship. Been at obviously Bundesliga 2, but Sweden as well. Best season though. In terms of goals, it would be last season. 50 games, 22 goals in all comps. Season before that, 47 games, 18 goals in all competitions. Yeah, that would be those last 2 seasons is where he's really decided to start doing something, if I'm being totally honest. And of course, this season, 36 goals in 43 games. So yeah, I think when it comes to the last 3 seasons, you can say he's kind of gone that way. So there's nothing to suggest that he couldn't potentially come in and, do his thing. Yeah, Brian. Yeah. It's true. Everyone wants Robinson or Aït-Nouri, but for me, Milos Kerkez is slept on. He's very good. Yeah. If you go through my videos, you'll see. I think I've done a player watching him time ago. I think he's a dope. When he was still at, is it AZ Alkmaar? I'm sure it's AZ Alkmaar. I might be wrong. But yeah, he's a dope left wing back. Definitely dope. Like I would definitely sign him. Whether I'd sign him over Aït-Nouri and that depends on what I'm looking for my left back. If I need someone who maybe is a bit more comfortable in possession, then actually, no, you know what? I feel like they're kind of similar. Aït-Nouri is a bit more flexible though. I've seen him come in into centre midfield and all of that stuff, whereas I would call Kerkez more of a wing back in the traditional sense. But who's to say that you couldn't transform him, potentially into something else? How much do you think Kamara from Villa will cope compared to a Yusuf Fofana? I still want Yusuf Fofana. I can't even lie. I'm still on that train. Not fully on that train. Excuse me, but I wouldn't be mad at Liverpool signing someone like Yusuf Fofana, if I'm being 100% honest with you. But how much? It's Premier League, so Premier League tax straight away, he's going to cost way more. I think even by like 30 million. I think it'll be like a 30 million pound difference. But then you'd have to take into account his injury record since he's been at Aston Villa. Could that potentially drive the price down? This is why we got Michael Edwards. This is where I need you to, come into the building. GTV, I'm not informed about American rap culture, diss tracks. What exactly are these guys beefing about? All right. Long story short, it's basically Drake's been getting dissed by Kendrick Lamar, Future, Metro, Rick Ross, basically everybody. They decided to drop a diss track. They decided to drop a diss track. Rick Ross dropped a diss track. Drake's then obviously dropped a somewhat reply. Well, I say somewhat. He dropped a reply to that. Then today I saw he's dropped another one. Well, I say he dropped another one, but it's not him rapping. It's an AI, and I think it was Tupac. Was the AI, but it's like Drake's flow. So basically, it's just beefing in that kind of sense. Whether it goes too far, I don't really know. We're still waiting on Kendrick's to kind of come back to Drake's first one. So it's going to be interesting. We're all still waiting. That one, if it's not good, then the wait was for nothing. Because I'm like, well, we waited all this time and it wasn't even all that. Like, I need to be hearing some real disses, like some real disses, because I need you to amp Drake up a little bit more. Do you know what I mean? Like, to the point, when Pusha T told everybody that Drake had a kid and then Drake had to show everybody the kid. Yeah, I need those kind of disses to get Drake kind of moving in this, in this direction. Yeah, I'm trying. I like Drake when he's rapping, when he's singing, and nah, I don't want that anymore. I'm tired. All of this paint your nails nonsense. Listen, don't go out as a sucker. Just do your thing. Do your thing. Strasbourg, Steve, Yusuf Fafana at Monaco. Excellent. Yeah. 100%. And this is why I haven't followed him too much this season. I haven't really been focusing on him this season, but he is definitely someone that I've still got my stocks in. I've still got my stocks, in someone like him. People need time to cook, surely. Nas took 6 months to drop Ether. Yeah, we're talking about Nas, though. And you're talking about a period of time where it's obviously, unfortunately, because of the period of time that we're in social media, you cannot take 6 months. And if you do take 6 months, you almost need to just go quiet. Like it needs to be radio silence from you. We don't want to see any tweets. We don't want to see any mess. Well, to be fair, we're not, but we don't want to see anything from you for the next 6 months. That would be the only way in order for that to happen, just because we live in an era where everybody wants it quickly. You know what I mean? We need things quickly. Look at Netflix, Netflix shows. I know for those of us who watch Netflix, and for someone like me who binge watches TV shows, I hate waiting a week for a show. Nah, forget that. Drop the whole thing. And I need season 2. And I need season 2 to be ending on the sickest cliffhanger, like when they cut off Ned's head in Ned Stark's head in flicking Game of Thrones. I need that type of cliffhanger. So then I'm like, oh my goodness, you just killed a main character. What's the next season going to be like? I need something along those kind of lines. Big up Game of Thrones, though. Big up Game of Thrones. G is the Jadakiss versus 50 Cent diss track slept on. Same for Eazy-E versus Drake. That Eazy-E versus Drake was mad. Also, Real G's from Eazy-E is a very cold diss track. Is the Jadakiss versus 50 Cent diss track slept on? People who know, like people who are fully into rap, that I wouldn't say that they would sleep on it. The wider audience, yes, the wider audience will be like, it'd be just one of those. You probably wouldn't even put it into you would put it in a list, but it'll be quite low down on that list, if I'm being totally honest with you. But I think when you're into rap, like myself and like yourself, honestly, you'll look at that diss track and be like, okay, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Eminem took mad long to diss MGK. Made man a tampon boy drinks his ex blood and stuff. Yeah, I didn't really know what was going on with MGK. Like I was kind of confused as to what what was popping, because I was like, oh, and I kind of like MGK. Do you know what I mean? Like I thought he was all right, and then he just went left. And when he started going left, I wasn't really feeling it. People's attention span is so short now. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying, man. Like with no one wants things that are just taking too long. I don't know if you guys used to watch BBC Line of Duty. Man, we hated the fact that it was coming out a week after a week. Next episode next week. Next episode next week. Next episode next week. Because you want everything now, but then you get vexed when everything is done now, and then you're like, oh, well, what next? And I think that's also the problem that they've got with all of these broadcasting companies, all of these TV all of these people. I feel like they're going to have an issue with all of these things eventually, because supply and demand. Did you get what I'm saying? I get it. Some people will just wait for Power, the next season, to come out, and BMF when the new season comes out. Everyone was just waiting for it, like myself. Cool. Eventually, though, I feel like the new gen will kind of stop wanting that, because they'll be like, nah, we need it quicker than this. So you're almost going to have to try and fill in the gap somewhere along the line. You're going to have to fill in that space. It's taking a year to drop the next season of BMF, and you're like, or 6 months to drop the next season. You're going to need something in the middle. Hence why 50 Cent is so clever, because he will do Power Kanan in that gap that you're waiting for BMF. When Kanan's finished, it's like a month at most wait, and then BMF then comes out. Once BMF is all finished, then I think it's Power. I think it's Tommy's. I think that's then coming out afterwards. I think Tommy's or Tariq's. I can't remember, but one of them is coming. He knew, I need to fill that gap. Of course, there's going to be a big hiatus at some point in time, but for the time, if I can fill that gap, and I think that's the kind of way that we're heading. At this moment in time. How do we even get here? D-Block demolished G Unit. Hey, loud G Unit, man. Loud G Unit. Jadakiss is so slept on as an artist. 100%. But again, like I said, if you're into rap, I don't think you would sleep on him. Like I said, it will be more wider audience. Because there's people now I probably sleep on. I don't really listen to, I'm a bit of an old head that way. Even though I'm an early 90s baby, but I'm still of a bit of an old head. So when it comes to some of these new rappers now, you can miss me with some of these guys. I'm not even trying to hear any of them. You're more likely to catch me playing 50 Cent or Biggie or someone of that kind of ilk than you would hear me playing or King Von, for example. I like Von. You're more likely to hear me playing those kind of tunes as opposed to, I don't know, any of these new rappers that you guys want to tell me are good, which I don't think are good. Beanie signaled this to Jadakiss is cold. MGK called Eminem daughter sexy when she was 16, mentioning Haley is like a dead sentence. Eminem will kill you when it comes to his kids, which I respect. Yeah, come on, man, you can't do that. Steve, yeah, I'm an old head for rap too. Yeah, man. Like, I'm not really into the new. Like, I promise you, I'm almost like one of those people. Like, the only way I'm gonna hear new music is if someone plays it to me, or it's so good, or if I see like a reel or a TikTok reel and I hear the tune, I'm like, oh, who's that? And then I'll hear, oh, right, that's da-da-da-da. I promise you, when it comes to new music, if it's not someone I already listen to, I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to do that. I'm still stuck in the 90s, early 2000s era. Yeah, facts. Yeah, facts. Steve saying, Steve, I love Wu-Tang as well. Yeah. Come on, man. This is what I'm saying. But that's when music was really good. King Von was a madman, but bro was mad talent. Yeah, and the thing is, I never even used to like King Von. My boys used to like King Von, and I used to think, yeah, he's alright. But then, yeah, this is where you got to humble yourself. I took some time to listen to him properly, and I was like, nah, King Von actually alright. Do you know what I mean? King Von is actually decent still. Like, he's actually decent. Dipset, Diplomatic Immunity is one of my favorite albums. Joel's, come on, man, Joel Santana, come on. Do you know what I mean? Like we're talking about some of the greatest people that we've ever heard jump into the booths. Come on, man. Joel's is the guy. But guys, we'll save that conversation for another day. We'll save that conversation for maybe, you know what? If Kendrick drops a diss anytime soon, maybe I'll do like a reaction. But I know Savage does. If you guys go on Savage channel, I know he does reactions to certain things, whether it be a movie, a trailer, and various other different things. So yeah, head on over to Savage's channel. I don't think it's Savage Talk Sports though. I think it's his other one. So yeah, head on over to there. Head on onto his page, you'll find it there. Hugo Online, I believe. So yeah, head on over to there and you'll probably see some of that stuff. And of course, if you're into wrestling as well, head on over to Savage Wrestling channel as well. Guys, make sure you are all blessed and have a good end to your day. I will be not back, or I'll be back tomorrow morning anyway for the preview. And sometime today, I'll be dropping my next episode of Football Manager. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Goodbye. God bless. Peace.